Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. Today I am going to talk about a very interesting topic, that is TPM, Total Productive Maintenance. You must be knowing that it's a series that is going on. The first one was with respect to overall maintenance process. The second one was with respect to the preventive maintenance. The third one was about predictive maintenance. The fourth one was about IoT and its linkage with the maintenance process. This is the fifth one. The last one will be about what are the challenges in the maintenance process and what can be the possible measures that organization can take. So here I'm going to talk a little bit about TPM, its history, its background, what are the different steps in TPM, and what are the benefits organization can take about it, and what are the possible challenges. Seiichi Nakizama is considered to be the father of TPM. He has very rightly said that TPM is nothing but making of the product by making of the people in it. Somewhere in 1952, the concept of preventive maintenance started when it was thought that if we have to produce a good quality product, we also need to ensure that whether the condition of machine is good or not. In fact, if you closely see TQM and just in time, they are directly linked with TPM. Unless and until the health of machine is good, we cannot implement or ensure that just in time and TQM is effectively implemented. If we talk about TPM, it is in three parts: total, quality, total predictive maintenance. When we talk about total, here the intent is we are assuming all kind of equipments, all the employees and all the processes in the organization. Then the productive. So here the intent is that whatever equipments organization is having, whatever processes organization is having, what all personals are having, whether they are productive and how we can improve the productivity of them. Then we talk about maintenance. Here the intent is that how we are going to make sure that whatever equipments that organization is having, the processes they are having, how much they are working properly as per the expectation and without any loss. There's a very popular and very important term that is interlinked with TPM, that is OEE, Overall Equipment Effectiveness. It is a combination of availability, productivity and quality. This is the single most important indicator with respect to TPM. If an organization has a good OEE, that's a good indicator that TPM is effectively implemented, provided the data is correct. Broadly, there are three things which TPM is talking about. They are talking about zero defect, zero losses, and zero accident. And based on that, the entire philosophy of TPM is there. There are 8 pillars broadly on which the TPM is based. The first one is about 5S. And 5S is considered to be a common thing with respect to this entire TPM process. The 5S includes sorting, shining, sanitizing, sustaining, and ensuring that everything is okay. The first S is talking about that we need to sort out what is required and what is not required with respect to equipment, tooling, and other things. The second S is talking about sanitizing, shining. That's ensuring that whatever equipments we are having or whatever tooling we are having, whether they are at proper place, at the right place or not. The third S is talking about sanitization, that there should be a process of sanitization just to ensure that there are not different standards with respect to different machines or with respect to different processes. One single standard is followed as well as possible. Then the next one is about shining. It is also important to ensure that whatever equipments or toolings or other things that we are having, they should be in a good health and they should work properly. And the last one is about sustaining. It is also important to ensure that once we reach a certain level, it should not happen that after that we again come down, which is generally being observed in the industry. We need to see that how we can sustain that level, whatever level we have achieved. That is about 5S. The second one is about autonomous maintenance, which is also called Hishuizan. So here the intent is that rather than maintenance process or maintenance people are responsible for maintaining the machine, it should be the responsibility of the operator of the machine to see that whether the machine is working properly or not. So it is my machine concept. Here the intent is that The routine maintenance should be taken care by the person who is working on the machine, and in case there is anything major thing that needs to be done, so before the breakdown can come, the maintenance people should work on the machine so that they can ensure that the productivity and the quality is being ensured. So broadly, autonomous maintenance is focusing on reducing the losses with respect to cycle time, with respect to stoppages, planned stoppages, unplanned stoppages, with respect to the quality issues, with respect to the defects that are coming in the process. The third one is with respect to continuous improvement. It is also called Kobestu Kaizen. Here the intent is that by doing small kaizens, by doing small improvements, each and every employee will contribute in their own capacity to see that how they can improve the overall processes so that the machines can be worked properly, the productivity can be good, and the quality of product is also ensured. So here the intent is also a TEI, total employee involvement. So all the employees in the organization should be involved with respect to Kobestu Kaizen. The next one is with respect to planned maintenance. So here we are talking about preventive maintenance and predictive maintenance when we are doing condition-based monitoring or time-based monitoring. The main intent is that before the machine goes for a breakdown or any major loss with respect to quality of the product, there should be a process by which the people who are working on the machine can assess and can identify that there is a possibility of a breakdown, and even before that breakdown can come, people should work on the machine and can bring it to the normal state so that the productivity, quality and availability can be ensured. The next one is with respect to training. Again, this is a common thing across the organization. Here the intent is that all the relevant people should be trained about TPM and its related activity so that they are aware what they need to do and they contribute in their own way. So here the concept is, one is we know about a problem, but the second important point is why that problem has come. If people are being trained on that, then they can do a proper root cause analysis and can find the solution on their own rather than depending on other people. The next one is about office TPM. Now it is in general perceived that maintenance is only related to machines and nothing is required with respect to office area. But if you closely go in detail with respect to office TPM, they say that there are so many possibilities of improvement in the office area with respect to productivity, quality and delivery. And if all those things are being taken care with respect to retrieval of documents, how we are storing the information there, how we are making sure that information is saved and it can be retrieved quickly and so many other things, then the office TPM can work in a very wonderful way. The last and the eighth one is about safety, health and environment. Again, it's a common thing across the organization and not a standalone pillar. Here the intent is that organization should have a system wherein they can ensure that there is no accident, there is no fire and there is no possibility of any damage to the human life. So organization should ensure that people are properly communicated, trained about the safety, health and environment with respect to the requirement of the organization. And when an organization can have an effective implementation of TPM, then they can also think about going for an award also. Since 1972, JIPM, Japan Institute of Plant Maintenance, has established an award with respect to it. The first company was Denso Corporation, and since then there are so many organizations who have opted for different levels of the award with respect to TPM. What can be the possible benefits if an organization effectively implement TPM? So I would like to summarize in the form of PQCDSM. The first one is productivity. Whatever is the productivity with respect to the number of pieces produced before TPM implementation and now will give a very good indicator that whether TPM is effective or not. With respect to quality, what is the quality level before TPM implementation and now when we say that we have reached a certain level, whether our rejection PVM is reduced with respect to customer as well as internal or not. Then the third one is with respect to cost. Whatever is our cost of poor quality before TPM, what exactly is our cost of poor quality now, whether it has reduced drastically or not. If yes, then we can certainly say yes, TPM is effectively implemented. The fourth one is delivery. whatever is our delivery performance internally as well as to the customer, how much improvement that has happened so far, whether it is helping the organization, whether it is helping the customer, whether customer is satisfied with the delivery performance. That's a very good indicator to check the delivery performance. The next one is about safety. What are the number of accidents that were happening in the organization, maybe minor or major, and what is the status now? Is it zero or still the accidents are happening? So that will be an indicator with respect to the safety. And the last one is with respect to morale, that in case we are having some sort of a customer satisfaction survey or employee satisfaction survey, what was the result before TPM implementation, and now when we say that TPM is effectively implemented, what is the present, whether it is increasing, it is still same, or it is reducing. So that can give a broader idea with respect to the effective implementation. Now, if we look at the present scenario, there are few challenges or problems that we see with respect to TPM implementation. The first one is with respect to the involvement of top management. As long as the top management is involved with respect to TPM implementation, everything is fantastic. But once the top management shifts their focus to something other, then the implementation of TPM or the effectiveness of TPM goes down. That's a very big challenge with respect to industry. The second important thing is that whatever data that is being used to show that this much is the improvement that has happened, at times it is being observed that not all that data is authentic, and there is some fudging that is being done. So that's why after reaching a certain level, it becomes very difficult for organization to go to the next level. The third important factor is with respect to what is a tangible benefit an organization is getting. At times it's important, it's seen many times that company may be awarded with TPM, but still there is no tangible thing to see that whether the profitability of the organization, the bottom line has improved by implementing TPM or not. So that's why also many times the top management also loses their interest with respect to TPM. So in summary, I talked about a brief history about TPM. Then I talked about what is TPM. I talked about 8 pillars of TPM, 5S. Then I talked about autonomous maintenance, Kobestu Kaizen, planned maintenance, continuous improvement in quality, then office TPM, training, and safety, health, and environment. And after that, I talked about what are the benefits organization can get through which they can assess their performance in terms of productivity, quality, cost, delivery, and safety. Well, this is the 5th video of this particular series. The next and the last video of this particular series will be with respect to what are the possible challenges that organization is facing in general with respect to maintenance process, and what can be the possible measures that can be taken. In case you want to understand a little bit more about this particular video, you can click the below link and you will get more information through that blog. And if you want to get these kind of videos regularly and you find them to be useful, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.